my name is Rowlands. I'm a nutritional balancing practitioner, and in this video I'm going to talk about the word integrity. Now, integrity is a really beautiful word, one of my most favourite words, and basically it talks about honesty. It's about someone who seeks the truth. It's about reliability. It's about being your authentic self, and it's about consistency. It's a word that is so important for who we are as humans, and basically not only for who we are but how the whole of the universe functions. There has to be a certain amount of integrity involved in order for anything to thrive to its full potential. And in this video I'm going to talk a little bit about integrity, what it means, how you can be more integral, and I'm going to give you kind of a rundown on my days at the moment and how I try and live them in terms of my integrity, which is probably going to change for most people, but you're going to find a lot of helpful information in that section of the video, I would imagine. So the word integrity means to be whole, it means to be complete. It's related to the word integer, which means a whole number. But a really interesting way of understanding integrity for a human being, and for actually most creatures, is to relate it to the 7 energy centers, or the 7 chakras. For whatever reason, these chakras all mean a different thing, and when you understand them, you know if a chakra is closed, if it's more open, and you can actually kind of check in with yourself and think, oh, which area of my life is out of integrity at the moment, and you can relate to the 7 energy centers, and you get a good idea about which parts of your life are out of integrity. So I'll talk a little bit about that later on. Integrity means to be integrated. The opposite of integrity is fragmented, so it's just all over the place. You're not fully kind of grounded and sit in truth and flowing in a nice, healthful, wholesome way. It means to be balanced. It means to be grounded. If you think about balance, everything in the universe has a certain balance. You know what we've got here? We've got a hawthorn bush. There's a certain balance. There's a certain mineral balance that needs to be, the best hawthorn bush around. The same goes for birds. The same goes for the skies, same goes for the soil, same goes for humans. It's why nutritional balancing and hair mineral analysis is so amazing, is because we've kind of know what the right balance is for a human being, and we found that if we can get all them balanced out, all the minerals balanced out, then the result is a really whole, integrated, healthy human being that thrives as it was designed to thrive. So it's really important to understand that. Also, being of integrity means to be in love with the self, and in love with the self as a soul. So what that basically means is that if you want to live in integrity, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to kind of go against the grain of society and culture a little bit, because society and culture is definitely out of integrity, and in order for you to get back into a life of integrity, you really need to kind of go against the grain a little bit and follow your own soul. That's one aspect of living in integrity. It means that you're not really affected by other people. You kind of writing your own story. You're following your own script, and a lot of that's based on kind of this soul aspect of ourselves, this kind of small voice from within that most people have to get in touch with at some point in order for them to live more out of integrity, because most people today are way out of integrity. Integrity also means to live with honesty and consistency. You need to have these 2 aspects really to be an integral person. Now, without these 2 things, life doesn't really run too smoothly. The reason being is honesty and consistency is basically kind of a wider aspect of how we should live our lives in truth. It's an interesting concept because basically what happens is the world seems to have this thing called absolute truth. Now, basically all truth means is that the whole universe has been created with certain laws, and these laws are truths. So there's a law of gravity, there's a law of how fast light moves, for example, and this goes down to a human level. There's laws on what mineral balances a human should be. There's also other laws like don't lie, don't steal, don't cheat, don't commit adultery. These are more human-based laws and truths that seem to be real. I know a lot of people kind of go against these in this day and age, but what we found time and time again, or what you do find time and time again, is that you follow these certain truths that you can find in things like the Bible, you'll generally live a much better life, a much more truthful, integral and honest life. So yeah, integrity is about searching for the truth. Now this is difficult because there is so much in truth in the world. It's actually really worrying, if I'm being completely honest. My search for the truth has led me down paths that I would never have expected myself to go down. You know, when I was growing up, I wasn't a religious person. I ate really crappy junk food because I thought that the truth, which was coming from my parents, which was coming from my peers, which was coming from my teachers, was real, so I followed that. Now, one good thing about truth is that generally what I found is that if you don't live in truth, things don't go right. So if you've got loose sexual values, for example, a lot of that's promoted today. But in general, you'll find if you have that way of living, things will tend to go wrong. You get things like STDs, complex relationships that are end in unhappiness, a lack of self-esteem. You know, so there's an aspect there which is like, doesn't seem to be living in truth. The same with junk food. If you eat junk food, generally you'll feel bad, you'll feel ill, you'll get diseases. That, in my opinion, means that you're not following truth. The same with things like stealing, you know, again, not following truth. But the problem we've got these days is that there's that many people telling you what the truth is, all different religions, different peers, different teachers. In order to find the truth and seek the truth, it's challenging. Now, one thing that I found, in all honesty, is Dr. Wilson's website is extremely truthful. In the beginning, it hit that sort of inner voice from within that was saying, this is something that you need to take note of, you know. And luckily for me, and most people that are following the program, I followed the program and found out that actually the teachings made me feel better. And not just the physical teachings, the spiritual teachings, the mental teachings, the emotional teachings, all made me feel better. And I knew that was grounded in truth quite a lot. So the more that I did it, and the more that I read Dr. Wilson's articles, the more I found that this seems to be the truth. The same goes for things in the Bible. You know, most of the Bible's teachings are found to be grounded in truth. So I feel like some people are more connected to the truth than others. I feel like for various different reasons, maybe a soul reason, maybe they're more of an advanced soul than other people. Maybe their brains just work a little bit better than other people. But generally I find that some people just have more truth than others, and a lot of it's based on common sense. You know, a lot of people these days, I'd say, don't really have that much logic. I feel like I've always had a good common sense in general, which has always made me question things quite a lot, which has definitely served me well. Although very confusing in the beginning, because I was always wanting to fit into society like most people want to do. So for me to live more in the truth, it meant that I had to sacrifice a lot of things. And in many ways it was an experiment, because I was like, this doesn't feel right, I'm going to follow this direction. I'm not 100% sure whether it's the truth, but I'll try it. And thankfully for me, it seems like that the path I've chosen is obviously way more truthful than the path that I've chosen in the past. So talking about integrity and the 7 energy centers, like I said before, you can actually go through the energy centers and kind of listen to each one of them and figure out whether you're living out of integrity in one of them, or most of them, which is the truth for most people today. So number 1 is kind of the root chakra. It's like not caring for the body. It's like survival. Are you eating the right diet? Are you drinking the correct water? Are you getting enough rest and sleep, etc., etc.? Again, living in integrity in terms of not caring for the body is difficult, because there's so many people giving you different ideas about what to do in life. What to eat, how much sleep to get, what water to drink, what detox protocols to do, that it's difficult to do. Again, I really do genuinely believe that the Nutritional Balancing Program is the most truthful program on the planet that I'm aware of so far. So the second energy chakra has to do with emotions, emotional abuse, etc. So excessive emotions, inappropriate emotions such as guilt, hitting people, yelling, if it's not really called for, sentimentality, etc., etc. Number 3, mental problems. So becoming mired in things like guilt, fear, anger, depression, lust, egotistical, narcissism, controlling, selfish, all that sort of stuff has to do with the 3rd energy center. 4th energy center, social problems. So are you too isolated? Are you too much of a social butterfly? Are you a vampire? Do you take energy from other people with your words and your actions and the way that you are? Do you have any sexual aberrations such as promiscuity, incest, fornication, too much sex, etc., etc.? And then we've got the 5th energy center, which is our expression or work in the world. What kind of work do we give to humanity? So is it harmful? Does it have things like pornography? Is it quite trashy? Is it exhausting for the body? Is there idleness involved? Again, you've got to find out what the truth is. Some people think pornography is great. I would argue that, if you was to test their energy centers one way or another, the 5th energy center would not be spinning right, which means to me that something's out of alignment, something's not within truth. Some people feel like excessive anger's okay. Check out the energy center. Is it spinning correctly? Again, so you can back this sort of stuff up, which is interesting. Have you got loose sexual values or whatever? You're having loose sex. Your 2nd energy chakra is probably not going to be spinning right. I wonder why. There's some truth based in there somewhere. I think that's really important to understand. That although people can argue that this is a good idea or that's a good idea, when in reality their energy centers aren't really spinning correctly, that is the indicator that they're living out of truth. It's difficult to kind of test whether your energy centers are open or not. Some people can do a good job at it using things like pendulums and crystals. There's certain photography that you can do that you can see chakras, etc. But at this present time, it is quite difficult to do. But as you can probably imagine, it is directly connected to truth. So it seems to be that there's some truth involved in human beings and what we need to do in order to live a happy, healthy life. And as I say, the Bible, etc., is really good for things like that, because it seems to be grounded in truth. So number 6 is knowledge and wisdom. Are you got false knowledge? Are you got false belief systems, false dogmas? Do you have a lack of knowledge? Are you not doing, are you not learning enough? Are you ignorant towards knowledge and wisdom? Are you too arrogant? Do you think you know it all? So all these things can affect the 6th energy chakra. And then 7 is integration problems. So do you live without principles? Are you not grounded in principles? Are you not grounded in scripture? Do you have the wrong principles? Do you have evil intentions? Dark intentions? Are you up in the head? You know, is your mind ruling yourself in the body? All that sort of stuff. So, as you can understand, you know, integrity is about becoming a whole human, a whole individual. And it is extremely difficult to become a whole individual in this day and age, in the Western world, because there's so much untruth, there's so much misinformation, there's so many people telling you one thing, telling you another thing, and the temptations from the Western world is astonishing. You look everywhere, there's temptation, you know, whether it be temptations for the opposite sex, whether it be temptations for food, for drinking, for smoking, for going to bed late, you know, for cheating people out of money, you know, it's just a real dilemma that we've got ourselves into at the moment. But there is a silver lining, you know. The more hardships you go through and you come out of them, you become a better teacher, you become more appreciative, you know, you have more zest for life, you really want to help the world. So to finish for this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you into a little secret of mine. So living in integrity often means that you've got to do something and test it. Does it work? Does it not work? You know, is it aligning your chakras? Is it based on truth? Etc, etc. So you'll generally find that when you're doing the nutrition balancing program, or when you're living life in general, you will try something and it'll not work, and then you'll have to refine it, try it again, and you have this refining process, and everyone's different, you know. So what I'm going to tell you now is going to be a little bit different for everyone, you know. Especially when I was first doing the program, I couldn't do half the stuff that I do now today, so mainly because I was so ill, I was so tired, so I just had to rest, you know. Sometimes to get back into integrity, you've got to kind of go out of balance in the opposite direction. You've got to go serious amounts of rest, you know, to get yourself back in balance. It's like repaying karma, I suppose, on one sense. So this is a sheet of paper that I keep in my wallet, and it just kind of gives me a rundown of kind of how I like my days to work out. And this has been a real refinement process over the years. So it's not something I expect you guys to pick up straight away, but I just want to give you an indication of like what I do in the daytime, and how it relates to integrity. So, I'm still recording. Yeah. So the first thing that I do when I get up in the morning is I try and get in touch with God, or the Creator. Now, what I learned over the years is this is a real thing, and God does know truth, and God does guide you, the Creator, the whole, you can call it truth, call it love, call it whatever you want, but there seems to be a guidance, and when you can tune into that guidance and learn to love it, it will help you throughout the day. So the first thing I tend to do when I get up in the morning is I do a little prayer, or I just check in, and I say to God, kind of, this is what my day's got planned today, you know, if you want me to do anything, thy will be done. And yeah, just kind of check in with Creator, say my gratitude, and just say, if there's anything that you want me to do today, please show it. And every day I'll get some new task, whether it be someone comes into my life that I need to help, whether it be an insight, a video, an article, an intuition in meditation. You know, it's got to a point now where, you know, often there'll be someone will come into my life that needs some sort of help, and that's really beautiful to get to that stage, because you know that you're really doing some good work for the world when God presents people to you that are in need of healing. So that's nice. So there's a few things in here that I like to write down. I write down, become all that you are. Become all that you are basically means to work. You know, when in the Garden of Eden, when God said to Adam, you need to work the land, or you need to go to work. work in Hebrew actually means to become all that you are. So in my days, I want to become to become all of me, which basically is another word of saying to become integral. But my integral, you know, you got to love my soul. I've got to love what I'm all about, not what other people are all about. So you need to become all that you are. If you're a great musician, play some music. If you're a great artist, draw some things. If you love nature, which most people should, get out into nature. You know, if you want to be better at articulating things, learn about you know, creative writing or whatever. Now, I write down here that remind myself to look after my finances. It's a big one for me. So you'll realise that being frugal with your income is super important today. It doesn't mean to be skimpy. It doesn't mean that I skimp out and I don't buy things, but it just means that don't waste my money like I used to. A lot of the times I used to spend money because I thought it would make me happy. And in reality, a wise decision to do these days is to invest, spend money on things that you need, but don't overdo it, because being in financial stress is not a nice thing to do. Luckily for me now, I'm financially secure. I invest a lot of my money, which is good, but it's just a reminder, you know, just to look after your finances. Another thing I write down is take full responsibility for myself. So that goes a bit deeper for me, because I want to take full responsibility for everything in my life. At some point I want to take full responsibility for the food that I get put on my table, for the clothes that I wear, for how I do my laundry. You know, I don't really like giving away my power to other people, because it doesn't make me feel very, you know, very, very sovereign. You know, I'll hopefully in the future I'll be able to make my own clothes. That would be really, for me, I would really like to do that, because it means I'm being a really sovereign person and sustainable. I go out and try and hunt my own food. You know, I'm really taking full responsibility for myself. It does really help with your self-esteem, I've noticed, and I feel like that's how hunter-gatherer populations did get their sense of self, was becoming super self-responsible for who they were as people and beings and individuals. So another side to that is I think about rewilding, and I speak about this a lot. Now, rewilding basically is just getting back in touch with nature's law. So little things like, instead of watching TV at night, I'll go out and light a fire and watch the fire at night. You know, I will go out for walks like I'm doing now. I will, if I need to decorate my house a little bit, maybe I will decorate it with some of, you know, it's autumn now, so I've been decorating my house with some autumn leaves and making pictures and stuff. It's just about reconnecting with nature, with what God provided us, because that's where the healing comes at the end of the day. Getting out, sleeping under the stars, all that sort of stuff. So I try and think about how to live in nature's law, even though I have to live in a city environment. It's really helpful for me to think like that. Another thing I've put down is to look good and feel good. I know it's a simple one, but if you don't kind of groom yourself, or you know, look after what you wear, you know what I mean, if you don't kind of enjoy what you see in the mirror, then it's going to make you feel pretty bad. It doesn't mean you got to spend 2-3 hours a day making yourself look pretty, but just have this general self-respect. Next one is keep my house clean. You know, keep things orderly. Or you know, cleanliness is next to godliness, they say. So that's another thing I try to do. So probably a better way to describe what's going off here is that when I get up in the morning, I pray. The next thing I do is I'll do the morning spa routine. Now I probably will do a video on what I actually do in a day. I'm just telling you more quickly what actually goes off. I'll do the morning spa routine on Dr. Wilson's website. Then I'll take a shower, make sure I look good, prepare myself for the day. You know, so these little things that I'm saying actually are much bigger. Like every little aspect is really well thought out. The next thing I'll do is I'll answer my emails. So work. You know, fifth chakra. So I answer my emails. Then I'll make some videos. I will search around the internet for podcasts I need to go on. I can get myself on. Getting yourself onto a podcast is a really easy way of actually getting more people to start the program, because a lot of these people have done all the marketing already. All you do is you're doing hours worth of talking on a podcast, and you've got clients coming through the door. Like, all these little things that I've wrote down mean so much more than probably what I'm saying. So work outside. Now that sounds quite trivial, but actually getting outside, being in nature, sitting next to the lake, doing work is so important for my mental well-being. It's who I am as a person. I really enjoy getting outside and working. I remind myself to not use my phone. People get so stuck on their phones these days that you can spend half your day sometimes messing around on Facebook, messing around on Instagram, wasting your days really when you could be doing something much more meaningful. A little reminder to always relax, to take my days in a relaxed way, just to calm down. Again, all these tiny things mean so much more. The amount of times that I've burnt myself out unnecessarily just because of my personality, that I've popped this on this list because it's so important to always realise to just relax and calm down and just take things easy, actually, and take life as it comes. So that's kind of what happens in the mornings. Get up, pray, do the spa routine, answer my emails, make videos, get out and work. So this is like 1 p.m, 2 p.m. maybe. So for the rest of the day, really, I'm either speaking to clients on Skype, but I'm also doing other things. So I've wrote down here, giving love. So that basically means realise that I am an extension of love. So all I can do for the world is express my love to individuals, to my family, to my friends, and that involves being present. So I always try to be present. So important to not be stuck in the future, to not be stuck in the past. People really need to understand that being present is so important. Then I've wrote down here, family, Brad, and games. Now that basically means that, do I need to spend some time with my family? Do I need to spend some time with my little brother? Because I have a responsibility in one sense to be there for my family, be there for my brother. The games means I like to play games with my family and friends. Do I have any opportunities to do that? Again, this is the social aspect. All of these things all relate to the 7 energy chakras, if you think about them. Are there any events that I want to go to, and any events that are good for knowledge, good for wisdom, good socially? Acts of kindness and giving to the world is so important. It's the golden rule. You really give. If you give as much as possible, you'll get it back 100%. Make things for myself, which relates to full responsibility. So I'm a creative individual. So if it's someone's birthday, instead of going out and spending £3, £4 on a card like society expects you to do, make it. Draw a picture. Make a little. I made a bird basket not long back for my grandma out of willow wood. Just little things like that. It means so much, but society tells us that we need to go and buy things. It's never good. An important one, plan your day for how you want it to be. This relates to who you are as a soul. It's so important that you've got full responsibility for who you are in the world. So when you get up in the morning, plan it. So all of this stuff that I've written down is kind of inbuilt into my body already. So sometimes I'll go to an event, sometimes I'll relax, sometimes I'll go and chill out with my brother, sometimes I'll play a game, sometimes I'll fill my day out with clients. But in general, what you will find is that if you do too much of this, things won't work out. So if I'm with my clients all day, every day, then I don't really speak to anyone, and it's difficult to be around that energy all day. If I was just out playing, having fun and playing games all day, then I'm not giving to the world, you know. If I'm doing the program all day, that's pretty good, but again, I'm not providing the service. If I'm going out spending all my money, then I'm not taking full responsibility for myself, you know. So you're kind of understanding where this all stems from. So I will do a what I do in a day video soon, which will give you a more of a rounded perspective of what I actually get up to. But it's really important to write down your perfect day and to refine it over and over and over again. I have other little things on here just to remind me of things. You know, at 7 o'clock switch off my technology, wind down, don't eat before I go to sleep, you know, be in bed for 10. You know, sometimes just reading this in the morning is so easy to help you plan things and help you have a much more successful integral day. So that's pretty much it. It's more of a discussion on integrity, this video. Try and be as integral as possible. One good thing to do is to read Dr. Wilson's article on stages to speed up development. It's called The Young Person's Manual. I also have a video called 12 Steps to Increase Your Development, so check that out. That's really useful. One of the best things of increasing integrity is to obviously start a nutritional balancing program. It's not just about the program, it's about guidance from me and Luke as well. You know, like, you can speak to us about pretty much anything, relationship issues, how to live in integrity, business issues. You know, I've pretty much been through a lot, most things. So, you know, that helps as well to improve your life and to move forwards in your health. So, as always, thanks for watching. If you want to start the program, just send me an email, lewis@deephealingspace.com. I understand this has been a fairly long video on integrity, but I hope it's helped you out. Thanks for watching, and speak to you all soon. Ciao.